All right, if you can, anybody that's on, if you can see and hear me, let me know you can see and hear me, because I'm going to run through this teaching real quick. Okay, all right, let's let me. All right, hopefully I better get through this whole thing. Um, yeah, hopefully I better get through this whole thing and knock this out. Um, this teaching here, hopefully, like I said, I'm not too long ago getting off work this morning, and my baby's asleep right now. So hopefully, guys, I can get through this. Basically, but it's going to be a quick teaching on how to celebrate Passover, how you and your family, even if you're not coming to Passover, things you can do throughout the week. It's not going to be like a in-depth teaching, but it's basically because I think we have a teaching on the page that really breaks down Passover and all. I did one, and I think Josh did one in the past too. So real quick, this here will be somewhat of a teaching on it, but it's basically going to help you see how you can celebrate it as a family. For those that are coming to Passover, and for those that are not, years from here, you'll be able to get with your family, know what you're doing, and flow from there. And then the Most High give you the rest. Always understand that some things you're not gonna be able to go into a book and see, and some certain things that the Most High He's going to inspire you to do, right? So inspire you to do with your family, so they can have a greater understanding, a greater embrace of the feast days for them to remember. So you got to allow the Spirit to deal with you and give you different wisdoms or different things to help them understand what this is about. I'm pausing because I'm hearing something in another room. Y'all hold on one second. I'm going to be right back. Let me try to play some music or play something so I can go see what in the world that I'm hearing. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Yeah. Your boy back in the building. Hallelujah. Alright. Hey, look, it took me a minute to get back. Y'all gotta forgive me, man. I had a lot going on. But yo, what's the first thing I did when I got back though?
I think it's time we put our focus in this rightful place. Too many got little to do, but got so much to say. Critical kings, but that plow ain't hitting these souls. Some of us doing work while they kicking back like recoil. But it's okay, we them anchors, baby, we hold it down. We got that light similar to a motive now. Yeah, over everything, you can check the motive now. Money used to drive me, but yeah, who would be the motive now? Birds of a feather flock together like seagulls. See, we can put in work and do it again like sequels, but that's not the goal, this how it goes. Read many books, acknowledge our knowledge while praising who got the most. Man, that's frivolous. Let's put the attention back on what really is important. Let's get back to working and switch the emphasis. Don't have to question what my interest is. You know it's high like tidal loans. If you said unity, you spot on like blemishes.
We need more work. We need more work. All that talk is stopping us from getting in the dirt. We need more work and more work. Planting seasons and need for the rebirth. We need more work and more work. Them labor pains turning gains all through the earth. The harvest right for the picking if you till the earth. We need more work.
We gon' get that work.
Let this be a proper word. I bring good tidings. Let this song be the David conquering Goliath. It's not me, the Holy Spirit be the co-pilot. I mean that with every bone, spit, nerve, and fiber. It took hard work just to reach the point. To do the mirror check and quit with the finger point. The book that opened up my cranium, I surrender. Cutting up the false doctrine, spiritual blender. To invoke this kind of thinking, just remove the plug. Inside's a dead man walking till you take the plunge. This life be having us on edge, we don't move or budge. Check what you spend the time on, ain't no refunds, ain't no reruns. The end has begun. One life is one shot.
All right, y'all. I'm back, man. If you can see and hear me again, if you can see and hear me, let me know that you can see and hear me. That everything is good. Uh, Let me know before I move forward. Some craziness just happened, so just y'all can see and hear me. Okay. I'm sorry, man. I felt like I was hearing something on my roof, man, like it was somebody walking on my roof, and I'm like, ain't nobody supposed to be up there. Man, I go outside, some doggone big old birds, man, like buzzards. It must be something dead back in the woods, bro. Buzzards, man, just creeping and walking around on my roof, man, sounding like grown men up there. So I had to get something, throw it up there. I want to get my guns, but I don't want to go to jail. But them juggles is up on top of a roof, just walking around, man. It's crazy. But anyway, let me go on out this out. Also, again, so this is basically going to be a teaching on celebrating Passover, things that you can do, things that you and your family can do. Again, all of this that I got in here, I'm not saying this necessarily where you can go in history and find that they did that, or I tried to stay in the scriptures, but some things that the Most High inspired me to do with my family, where it can help my babies understand it. It can help them embrace it more. Some things that the Most High just inspired me to do. So I'm gonna give y'all some of those things. Listen, if you don't agree with it, again, he inspired me to do this. You ain't got to do all these things, but the other things we're going to make sure we stay in lines with the scriptures. But you'll see what we're talking about. Yeah, man, I should have been blasting them birds, but I can't get my guns to get shooting in the neighborhood, man. I end up being in jail. So let's knock this out. I'm gonna move fast, y'all, because I'm trying to get this in before my little daughter wake up. Okay, practical wisdom on how to celebrate Passover with your family. Again, practical wisdom on how to celebrate Passover with your family. Let's keep moving. The Passover, you can go to Exodus chapter 12 and it give you a full understanding. So let's look at it. Exodus chapter 12, verse 1. And Yah spoke unto Moshe and Aaron in the land of Mizraim, saying, This month shall be to you the beginning of the months, and it shall be the first month of the year to you. So this is showing you, and if any of y'all had an opportunity to see the video that I did on how we calculate the feasts and the moons, and how that Egypt was on a solar, it was on a solar calendar, a one that basically go off the sun, but he pushed down, brought them out of there and said, this is going to be the beginning of the month, so put them on a lunar calendar. So what happens at the beginning of the months? What is he trying to show them? Let's see. So we understand that our beginning of the month does not start in the dead of winter. We understand that. That is something that is established here, but it doesn't make any sense to start it off in the dead of winter. But the Most High, you can look and always notice that when the Most High does anything, you ought to be able to look in the nature or in the system that he already created and be able to see that it verifies this. So you can look in nature and see that during the springtime, everything is rebirthing again, coming back together again. The grass is growing back with the leaves is growing back on the trees. The birds migrating back. That might be why them doggone buzzers up there. But all those type of things, everything comes anew, afresh, letting you know the earth is shifting into another beginning, a restoration, a rebirthing, something coming back to new. So all of creation verifies when it's time for the new year to come in. See, so let's look at this. What are some of the things that we can do? Yahya starts with the birth of new things, the spring, the rebirthing or restoration of all things. Explains what this means. So this is a time that You want to take time to explain what it is to your children so they can go outside and see the rebirthing and the renewing of all things, knowing that this is going to be our new year, and then help them understand the significance of a new start and let them begin to see the mercy of Yah. So this is an opportunity when the year is changing. Even though beginning of the year already came, you can still get with your children and help them understand how important this time of year is and how important that the Most High said, he said, my mercies are new every morning. So we always have another year to reset and restart. Because if you notice the Most High with the feast days, all the feast days give you self-evaluation. So you can really begin to, because Passover is a time you begin to look in your heart. You begin to get the leaven out of your heart, the inconsistencies out of your heart. You begin to consider your ways that you did the prior year. All these things let you see the mercy of the Most High. You begin to teach these things to your children, that the Most High would always give you another starting place if you done fell off, or give you a season that if you done got some iniquities, if you got some resentments, if you got some things throughout the year in your heart, this is an opportunity during this season for you to rid these things out of your heart. And this is something that your husband and wife ought to be doing together. The families ought to be doing together. And also that you're actually experiencing nature with your children. Well, because we so quick to just be moving and working that we don't give our children an opportunity to experience the creation of the Most High. Because the Most High hid some of himself in his creation. You see what I'm saying? So they won't be drawn to no evolution or drawn to no Darwin's theory and things of that nature. You give them an opportunity to experience the birds showing that in the years beginning, the blooming of everything starting, the ground is being ready to be tilled again, the soil coming back. So all these type of things are things that you can do with your family to let them experience this new time and this new year. All right, let's keep going. All right, so let's look at Exodus chapter 12, starting at verse 5. And it reads, your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and you shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month. Of the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening, speaking of the lamb. And they shall take the blood and strike it on the two sides of the posts, on the upper door posts of the houses wherein they shall eat. Verse 13, and the blood shall be with you as a token upon your house where ye are. And when you shall see the blood, I will pass over it, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you, to smite you in Egypt. And this day shall be to you for a memorial. And you shall keep the feast until, or the appointed times of Yah throughout your generations. And you shall keep the feast by an ordinance forever. So if anybody telling you that you don't have to keep the feast days, they don't understand that this has been given to us as an ordinance, and this has been given to us as a statute forever. This is something that we're supposed to make a memorial on. What this is it's just like, it's called like a dress rehearsal. It's things that we are consistently doing until the real thing happens, right? So there's just like you have a wedding rehearsal before the actual wedding, where you're rehearsing the things, you're going throughout the things until the actual wedding day happens and the wedding day is consummated. You don't do away with the wedding day because the fullness of the shadow of the day came. No, you make it a memorial, and this is why you husband and wife, they celebrate their union every year as a memorial to the first time they made the covenant. The same way we ought to do with the Most High with these feast days. All right, let's keep going. Trying to move fast, y'all. All right. Now, this is something that you can do with your children, where either you can get a drape during this time and allow them to have drape the covers or whatever over their doorposts, or get some cardboard boxes and allow them to cut them out. Get you allow them to paint, go outside. And I'm gonna let them tear up your house. But go outside and get paint brushes and let them paint paint the blood over there, over the cardboard boxes, or you can have one on the sides and one at the top. So every day during this week, They can go, into the house and they'll consistently remember the story as you're speaking on it. And it's something to get them excited on the way that they can design theirs and they can have their name or have something on there, just something that you can get you and your children involved with them and getting excited about this time and things that they can do together. Let's keep going. All right, so let's watch this. Let's watch what it says. Exodus 12, let's look at the eating. Your lamb shall be without blemish in the middle of the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and you shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. Now, I want to deal with these things, but this not that teaching because we did one on this before. So I'm going to try my best not to go in depth and make this long. Let me just stay focused. Verse 7. And they shall take the blood and strike it on the two sides of the post and on the upper door posts of the houses, wherein they shall eat it. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, and roast it with fire, with unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs shall they eat it. Eat it not raw, nor sodden along with the water, but roast it with fire, his head and his legs, with prudence thereof, and shall let nothing in to remain until the morning. That which remaineth until the morning shall be burned with fire. Watch this, verse 11. And thus shall you eat it with your loins girded about, and your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and ye shall eat it, what? In haste. And it is Yah's Passover. So this is ways that you can commemorate this, right? Ways that you could commemorate this even during this 7-day period of unleavened bread. There's ways that you can commemorate this thing of eating in haste and getting the children and the family, involved with this. And this is one of the things, that we came up with. Again, this is us and our family, but this is something because you want to keep these things consistently in your children's mind. So what could we do with eating with haste? Getting the children involved. Things you can do through the week of Passover. You can have a contest of that you made a meal or made the Passover meal. Or, well, not the Passover meal in that part, but you can set up a meal. Right? Just say you already did the Passover. This day 2, 3, or 4. And you can set up a time period during that time. So you can set up a time period during that time. After you already didn't observe the Passover, ate the meal, commemorate and all that type of stuff. Like later on in the week, you can have your children do a contest of just like it was, have them dress up as the Israelites, make them some little staffs, and do a contest with them of who can eat their food the fastest, letting them know you got to eat it in haste. We got to go, and whoever wins has the opportunity to have the mantle and to be able to, lead the other children in something that they wanted them to do, or they get to start that week, or they get something at the end of the week, something like that. So you can get your children excited about the things of Passover, the whole 7-day celebration, eating with haste. So you do things to help, and what is this going to do? Even though this is going to help your children understand the story by giving them things to do, giving them things to get excited about. And it's also building memories, that the things that they can do consistently, possibly through rituals, in a sense of what you've been doing throughout the years that you and your family does, that they'll embrace it, but then they'll be able to understand the story even better and get the why they had to do the things and be able to explain it, and get revelation from it, because this is what we used to do when we was younger. It's almost just like how a lot of West African tribes waking up to who they are is stuff that they've been practicing for years that they didn't know was in the scripture. And then when they went back and found out who they was and then go back to their tradition, they say, man, we've been doing this for the longest, but now they know what they're doing and got the why of what they're doing. Now the revelation is on a whole nother level. So I hope that makes sense. No, the Passover meal itself, no, it doesn't have to be eaten in haste, because this is something that we making a memorial of. So we're really commemorating the thing. Now, it is something. Now, if that's something that you want to do, you can do that. Or it's like, say, if it's like a small little portion that you want to put on the plate, so y'all can commemorate that part before you go all the way into the feast of it. Before you do that part, then of course, yeah, you can do that. Because the reason that I know it's not necessarily where you have to eat it in haste like that is because when Mashiach, when he told them to go gather and they was eating, they wasn't eating in haste at the time. They was eating, they supped, and then they began to do, he began to transfer, it said, do this in remembrance of me. So it depends on what the Spirit leads you to do. Because, like I said, you have Passover evening, and then we have unleavened bread for 7 days. So it's different things that you can do in that 7 day period to commemorate what your ancestors was doing, to get the children involved, the family involved, and get everybody working on one accord. I hope that answered your question. All right, so let's keep moving. Now, y'all, I'm gonna have to answer y'all questions at the end. So I said, does this start Monday through next week? No, ma'am. Actual Passover night is April the 3rd at evening. April the 3rd at evening. So that'll be next Wednesday at evening is when Passover starts. And this is why we'll be in New Orleans during that time. And then if you want to understand how we calculated the fast days, then you go look at the teaching that we done on how to calculate the feast, and it'll show you that. All right. All right, so we're back at Exodus 12, I believe, in verse 14. Watch what it says. And this day shall be unto you a memorial. That's what it keeps talking about, a memorial. And you shall keep it as a feast throughout your generations. You shall keep it as a feast by an ordinance forever. Now watch this. 7 days shall you eat unleavened bread. So the next day is when you eat the unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away the leaven out of your houses. So what is that speaking of? This is, family. Let me keep reading. Even the first day you shall put all the leaven out of your houses, for whosoever eateth leavened bread on the first day until the 7th day, their soul shall be cut off from Israel. Now this is where the idea with our culture of spring cleaning came from, because we had to clean our spiritual house and we had to rid our natural houses of the leaven that was in there. So they was ridding the house of the leaven, and it also was ridding the houses of different things that needed to be out of the house anyway. So this is the idea of where spring cleaning comes. See how perfect the Most High is, where he had already put in your culture things that we've been practicing. So this is where the idea of spring cleaning came from. So this is the time that you need to be going in there and digging in your house and pulling these things out, getting the also getting the leaven products out of your house. You can go online and look at things that have leaven in it. And also, but most importantly, as you're cleaning your house and as you're getting the leaven products out of your house, the main thing is to focus on your heart. It's to cleanse your heart of all bitterness, cleanse your heart of all resentment, cleanse your heart of all hatefulness, of evilness, of strife. You're supposed to be cleansing yourself and allowing the Most High to restore you and bring you back to completeness and wholeness. So this is why he always give us a natural demonstration to reveal something inwardly that's spiritual that he wants us to undertake. So this is a time of the year that we get, me and my wife, we get them children. Y'all going in their room, getting all them crevices everywhere. We going in cabinets and closets, getting all this leaven, which is just, stuff that ain't supposed to be there. Put all this stuff the right way. We're thoroughly going in, So this is an opportunity of where the idea for us of spring cleaning came from, of what we can do also too. So let's keep moving. Let's keep going. So like it says, even the first day ye shall put out the leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off. So you want to get rid of your leavened bread and eat unleavened bread. All right, that's the next slide. eating unleavened bread and getting it out of your house. It's Exodus 12. And the first day there shall be an holy convocation. So that's what we're doing. And then the seventh day there should be a holy convocation to you. So we're going to meet and have a convocation or a gathering. And then on the seventh day, when you go back to your homes, because we're not going to spend all 7 days together, you meet with your family or meet with your assemblies or things of that nature. And there shall be a holy conversation to you. No matter what shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may it be done unto you. Verse 17, and you shall observe the feast of unleavened bread. So we observe the feast of Passover. Now, next day, the 15th of the month, is the feast of unleavened bread. For in the selfsame day I have brought you and your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore ye shall observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at evening, you shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at evening. So throughout this time period, you go get what is called matzah, which is unleavened bread, and you eat that throughout the 7 days. I ain't saying you got to go just eat a lot, but just eating something because commemoration of what our ancestors did. And also, when you look at unleavened bread, that you look at it how it is pierced and what it looks like, and it's also a commemoration of the pierced body of Mashiach, in a sense of just always exalting what he did for us and commemorating what he did for us. Verse 19, 7 days there shall be no leaven found in your houses, for whatsoever you eat of that which is leaven, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether they be stranger or born in the land. You shall eat nothing leavened in all your habitation, and shall be eaten unleavened bread. So you want to get all the leaven out of your house and only eating unleavened bread, if that makes sense. Let's keep moving. All right, so it says take the leaven, which is the sin, on the outside of the camp and burn it. So this is one of the things that was done when you dealt with sin. Let's read Hebrews 13, if you guys can see that. We have an altar whereof they have no right to eat, which serve the tabernacle. For the bodies of those beasts whose blood is brought into the sanctuary by the high priest is for sin, and are burned without the camp. Wherefore Yahusha also, that he might sanctify the people with his own blood, suffered without the gate. Let us go forth and therefore unto him without the camp, bearing his reproach. For here have we no continuing city. All right, so this showing you that they would take the animals, they would sacrifice them, the sin offerings, and take the bodies without the camp and burn it. The same thing in Exodus 29, verse 13. And thou shalt take all the fat covered the inward parts, and the cow that is above the liver, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, and burn them up on the altar. But the flesh and the bullock and the skin, his dung, thou shalt burn with fire without the camp. It is a sin offering. So when you getting the leaven out of your house, it's supposed to represent sin. So the leaven, and also, the things that you clean up. Now, all right, let me go to the next slide so you can see what I'm talking about. Let me come back. All right, so during this time, you're getting all the leaven out of your house. It's in all these things done, and it's supposed to be taken outside of the camp and burned. So what I'm going to show you is one thing that we do. Once we get all the leaven out of our house and all these type of things, whether it be whatever we had to clean up, we go and take it out on the outside of my house. And I have like a little old grill that I don't use no more. And we burn everything there. And me and my children and family, a lot of times during that time, we'll set up like a little bonfire where we'll be out there. I'll be discussing the story of the Exodus. We might have we have some food and stuff like that out there that we have out there amongst us, as representing the sin that we're taking from us and burning it in the fire, that it will no more have control over our life. So we teaching this to our children, that purification of fire, we eradicate sin, because the Most High is what? A consuming fire. So these are some of the things and traditions that we set up with our family. Let's keep moving. 1 Corinthians 5. And I'm going to get to what I was talking about. 1 Corinthians 5. Purge the leaven out of your heart. Your glory is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump? Purge therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as you are unleavened. For even Mashiach is our Passover, is sacrifice for us. Therefore let us keep the feast. Let us keep the feast. Let us keep the feast. Not with what? The old leaven, neither with leaven of malice, of wickedness, but that unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. So this is what we're supposed to be keeping the feast with. And wickedness and things of that nature is what we, and malice is things we're supposed to be taken out of our heart. So what am I saying? You can't be in the Most High and doing his feast days, I'm sorry, y'all, and doing his feast days and got malice in your heart. You got malice with somebody in your heart. Got contention with somebody in your heart. Because this is a time for self-evaluation where you're supposed to be ridding these things out of your heart. And we're taking the sin outside of the camp and burning it. Yeah, this is self-evaluation. So we're supposed to burn all these iniquities and oughts and contentions and things that we have against our brothers and sisters, and supposed to take it as a sin offering outside the camp and burn it in a spiritual way. So this is what we was even doing in a natural way. And like I said, ways to get your children involved. This is the ways that you can get your children and your family involved where after we have taken all the leaven out of the house. Now you don't, let me say this, man. Let me say this. Don't you go put none in there that's flammable and then everything blow up. Now we want to think with intelligence. But when you done cleaned up a house, you done got the leaven out. Like I said, we have like an old grill we don't use no more. Put it out there. Have the children around the fire. We talking about the story. Sometimes I have the marshmallows out there that don't have the gelatin in them or anything like that. Or some type of meat that I'm having out there or something like that. And just making it a thing where they'll remember, right? That then they understand the concept of taking the leaven or the sin and burning it on the altar, or burning it in fire. And I began to commemorate them, let them understand that that's supposed to happen even also in their heart. Because the Most High is a consuming fire that comes and consume these things. And I'm going to get on that later. This is also is a time period that we talk. We talk with the children. Me and my wife talk. We make sure that we don't have things that we have been holding. If we have been holding it, this is a time where we really release it so we both can be free overall. So this is what I'm saying. Things that we can do to get the family excited, get our children involved, and we still staying in line with the scriptures. All right, let me keep going. I think little mom's gonna wake up in a minute. So again, you can speak on the story. We be out here during that time where we sing songs of Zion. I sing different songs. Like my children love the song. All kind of songs in the little song. Like Joshua fought the battle of Jericho. Go down, Moses, way down to Egypt and tell old Pharaoh to let my people go. We're saying out there. We're saying it out there. When Egypt went to Egypt land, let my people go. We're saying those songs around the fire, just having a good time, right? Building memories, but also spiritually putting something into them where they can remember and where the Most High can work with. All right? Oh, okay, we already dealt with that. All right, so I want to make sure I ain't skipping. I feel like I'm skipping things. Okay, so now we done got to the point of Matthew 26 where Yahushua says, do this in remembrance of me. Now let's go to Matthew 26, verse 17. Now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Yahushua, saying to him, where wilt thou ye prepare thee to eat the Passover? Verse 18, and he said, go into a city to such a man, and say unto him that the master saith, my time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at the house with my disciples. Just let you know that Yahusha kept the Passover. Verse 19, and the disciples did as Yahusha said, had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover, in the sense of they was making ready the meal. All right, now let's look at this, Matthew 26. And as they were eating, Yahusha took the bread. Now, let me say this before I get started. Y'all, listen. You have to understand covenants, because you'll see things in the scripture and don't realize that this is covenant terminology. And you'll take a Western mind to try to understand this, and you'll miss the revelation of it. This is why you have to understand what your covenant means. What does it mean for you? What is the nature of a covenant? What is the elements of the covenant? That's the only way you can really understand the power of what you possess. You have to go and understand your covenant so you can understand what's your rights even in this kingdom according to that covenant. How does this covenant work? How does this covenant operate? I don't want to be struggling for something that's supposed to be inherently mine. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to see that a lot of these terminologies that Mashiach was saying, because everything that he was doing, he was the mediator of the covenant. So the things that he was speaking was covenant terminology. He was renewing what was broken. He was bringing them into another level of covenant. And I'm going to show you this with this scripture in Matthew 26. All right, let's see this. Matthew 26. And as they were eating, Yahusha took the bread and blessed it, and he broke it, and he gave it to the disciples, and said unto them, take and eat, this is my body. And this became a part of his body. In verse 27, and he took the cup and he gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, drink ye all of it. Right? In verse 28, for this is the blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until the day when I drink it with you anew in my Father's kingdom. Now, it's three things right there that signify that he was bringing them into a covenant. Three things: the breaking of the bread, the drinking of the wine, and him saying that, that was marriage covenant terminology when he said, I will not drink this fruit of the vine with you again until the day I turn to my Father's kingdom. That ain't just words, but that's covenant terminology that everybody of that day would have knew what he was speaking of. Right? Because one of the things that you do in ancient Eastern covenants, after you have set up the terms and the conditions of the covenant, the next thing you do is have a covenant meal, a memorial meal that also solidifies the covenant. And when there's bread there and you break bread together and you eat the bread together, that means you are no longer being yourself, but you are becoming one body with this kingdom, one body with this person that you're making a covenant with. And this is why we don't realize how much we do Eastern covenants, even in our marriages, in our wedding day. By you coming up and having a cloud of witnesses there, that's covenant terminology. While y'all standing in between the witnesses that are there. And one man, which is the person that is marrying you between the Most High and you, he's the mediator. And y'all are saying, which is your vows, your terms of your covenant. All that is ancient covenant terminology. And then at the end, this is why the cake part ain't just eating cake and just nice. When you fold your arms and feed each other, you're saying, that's a strong statement. You need to understand what you're saying when you're doing that. Because you're saying that we're no longer two people. We have become one flesh. So I'm feeding you and you're feeding me. We're breaking off a piece of the body and becoming one body. Now we are the body of each other. We are sealed. And then when you get married and both of y'all take their cups of wine or grapefruit juice, whatever it is, and y'all do your little arms together and y'all drink it, that means now, because the life of the body is the blood. And when you drink that blood, that means you have become one life now. You're one life. You're one blood. When the Most High look at you, he look at you at one. So this is what Mashiach was given. He wasn't telling them no vampire talk, come eat my flesh and drink my blood. No, that was ancient Hebrew idioms that everybody in the ancient world would have knew what was going on when he was setting a covenant with them and having a memorial meal after he had already washed them. And you'll see that earlier, that he washed their feet when he was initiating them into another priesthood. So this is why when he was washing Peter, and Peter said, "No, Lord, let me wash your feet." He was like, "No, if I don't wash your feet, you won't have no part in me, because I'm finna initiate you into another priesthood after another order." All right, I ain't mean to get on all that. So now let's look at this. Watch this. In ancient Near Eastern covenants, please, family, go study that. In ancient Near Eastern covenants, the memorial meal. The covenant meal, this is usually a meal of bread and wine. See, this is something that wasn't just indigenous to Mashiach and just the Israelites. Everybody on that side of the world knew what that meant. That it was a covenant. They weren't just sitting there eating groceries. No, this was a covenant that was starting, that was happening. And this is why he told Judas to go do what he was going to do, because he wasn't of one mind. He couldn't become part of that covenant if he was going to sell him out. So this is why he couldn't completely initiate it until he got the one that wasn't one body with him, wasn't one life with him. He had to leave. Each fed the other, signifying that all that I am is coming into you. So a lot of times you will have two kingdoms coming together, and a greater kingdom would say to the lesser kingdom that all that I am and all that I have is coming into you. We're becoming one. The remnant of this is in the marriage ceremony, which the cake represents the body. The cake represents the body, and the two and the blood represents the life. Just what we said. This is why we are now called the body of Christ, because we of Mashiach, because we became one with his body. And this is why he said that if any man try to save his life, he shall lose it, because what he didn't take on their blood. But if any man would lose his life for what? Watch how he said it. For my sake shall gain life. So that was covenant terminology. This is why he said you can't think independent of yourself once you done came into this covenant. Once I done renewed you back, now we are one body. You my extension now. You don't think for yourself. You don't act for yourself. You don't speak like how you want to speak. You don't have an attitude when you want to have an attitude. You don't build up resentment against nobody, because that's not in my body. He said, forgive those. If you don't forgive, then I won't forgive you for your debts. So how you going to be a part of my body and holding resentment and unforgiveness to somebody? And you say you my body and we became one life. We ain't doing this as no ritual thing. You say you in covenant with me, you would get in trouble. So if you're part of my body, then we can't operate like that. We have to be of one mind and one heart and one spirit. I'm not talking about who did something against you. I'm talking about me and you now, because I'm in covenant with you. This is a serious thing. Passover is very serious. All right, so let's keep going. Now, we see this carried out in Matthew 26. And it says that as they was eating, Yahushua took the bread and he blessed it and he broke it and he gave it to the disciples. And he said, take this. This is my body. You are becoming part of me. Verse 27, he took the cup and gave them thanks and said, give it. And he gave it to them and said, drink it. Drink you all of it. This is the blood that symbolized the two lives that are becoming one. And this is why he was able to make statements after this. And he was setting the rules of this renewed covenant. Watch what he said. He said, if any man loves mother, father, sister, brother more than me is not worthy of me. And he said, if you don't hate your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, then you're not worthy of me. But we say, and this is where we get the terminology of blood is blood is thicker than water, or blood is more than water, something like that. But because what it was saying is, when you say water, water represents the womb that all of us came out of, right? And if all of us came out of our, first was in our father, but all of us came out of the womb of our mother. So all of us was in water first. One household, like my brother and sister, they was in water first. We was all in my mother's womb, right? Until her water broke and we came out, right? But blood goes deeper than water coming out of the same womb. When I'm in blood covenant with somebody, that means it goes deeper than even my natural brother and sister. Now these people that I'm in the truth with, now you are connected to me by blood now, which is blood covenant. So this is why Mashiach was saying, I'm renewing you back to the Father in this covenant. He said, when it comes to the covenant, the blood covenant, can't nobody come above the covenant. He said, when it comes to the covenant, it's almost as if you hate your mother, your father, your sister, brother, if they're trying to turn you away. Now, I'm not saying have a natural hate and a nasty to them, but he was saying that's how serious and how close knit this blood binds you together. It binds Israel together. And this is why we receive what the consequences of the covenant, of the breaking of the covenant, even though we weren't the direct descendants of the ones that broke it. But we received the consequences because what? Blood binded us together to receive the consequences of our ancestors' sins. You see what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. So his statements make a whole lot more sense now when you understand the ground rules of what he was laying out. He said, this is how serious this is. And then this is how serious this Passover is, because I want you to make this a memorial of me, renewing you back to your place, to have a place and seated in the kingdom, to have rulership. All right, man, let's keep going. Baby gonna be woke up in a minute. Now watch this. Let's read Matthew 26 and 29. See, that's what I'm saying. This is covenant terminology, y'all. We have to, when we see this in the scripture, we can't be just reading over this stuff, man. Matthew 26 and 29. But I say unto you, I will not drink this forth of the fruit of this vine until the day when I drink it new with you in the kingdom and my Father's kingdom. Now, we looked at that and we were just thinking, okay, well, he ain't going to drink no more until we get into the kingdom. Must going to be some good, good wine when we get in there. We really weren't looking at that. But that was this is what in the nation of Israel, this is what a groom would say to his wife, to his bride. Let me tell you why. Because a groom, the father and the husband, right? The father and the son would come to the bride, a young lady's family door that they plan on possibly marrying, right? And they would go to the door, and it was set up at the end, and they would go to the door and knock. And if she would answer the door, then that means that she was ready to get the engagement process started. But if they knocked on the door and she didn't answer, then that means that she rejected him as to be her, her future husband. So this is why it says in Revelations, I think 20:3, that said, I stand at the door and what knock? Who? Me and my Father. And if any man would open the door, he said, what? Me and what? My Father would come into them and do what? Sup. Because what? You're telling me that you are ready to start the betrothal and engagement process. And this is why we're called not just the body of Mashiach, but also the bride. All right. So the father and the son, that they would get in, they would talk to the bride's family. They would lay rules down. They would talk about the history of each other's, how they're going to get this started. Um, and one of the things that they would do is, I don't want to go into all of this because I got to get on into this teaching, not this out. I'm sorry. But one of the things that they would, I say this, I give you two things. And some of this you should already know. One of the things that they would do is they would both have a glass of wine, and they would drink it as a consecration unto each other, to each other, for each other. And the last thing that they would do before he would leave, he would tell the bride that he would not drink the last cup of wine until he go back into his father's house, because him and his father, and during those times they would create houses where fathers and sons would stay in. And when a son got married, he would bring his bride into his father's house. And this is why the groom would tell the bride, I got to do what? Go and prepare a place for you, but I will return. And this is why Mashiach would tell us, he said, I have to go. It's expedient that I leave, that I got to go and find a place, because in what? My father's house, there's what? Many mansions. But the groom, the last thing that the groom would tell the bride is, he said, I will wait to drink the last cup of sanctification and consecration from me to you. Once you have came, my father's house is ready. And once you have came into my house to live with me, then we will drink the last cup together. So this is what the Most High was speaking of. This is what Mashiach was speaking of when he says in this verse 29, but I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of the fruit of the vine until the day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. All right, I'm finna move. All right, so this is another thing that we do, that you can do during Passover. It's the washing of the feet. Now, we won't do this down there in, I don't know. Well, we don't plan to do this down there in, because we got too many people coming down there in New Orleans. But let's look at it. Washing of the feet. I think this is John, I want to say 13. John 13, starting at verse 1. Now before, again, John 13, starting at verse 1. Now before the feast of Passover, when Yahushua knew that his hour was come, that he should depart out of this world unto the Father, having loved his own which were in the world, he loved them unto the end. And supper being ended, the devil having now put into Judas Iscariot Simon to betray him, Yahushua, knowing the Father had given him all things into his hands, and that he was to come from God, he went to God, and he rose up from supper. He laid aside his garments, and then he took a towel and girded himself. And after he poured water into a basin, he began to wash the disciples' feet, and to wipe them with the towel which he had was girded. All right, let's keep reading. Verse 12. So after he had washed their feet, he had taken his garments and was set down again, and said unto him, Do you know what I have done to you? Verse 13. Say, ye call me master, and ye say, well, for so I am. And verse 14, I am then your master, have washed your feet. Ye also should wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that ye should do as I have done to you. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his master, neither is he sent greater than them that sent him. So this is a time period, right, that we make a memorial unto what he did during Passover. Now, when you go into our teachings, you'll see that he was actually initiating them into a priesthood. But this is something that I, as the father does, right? I, as a father does, or want to implement, where I believe that the fathers, since we are the head, and it says the greatest shall serve, that we should get on our knees and wash our family feet. You bring their feet out, you wash the children, and you wash the wife's feet as the father, as the head, as a memorial to what Christ did. And then you have the children do each other, because sometimes the children think, I ain't finna wash my brother's feet. I ain't gonna wash my sister's feet. You just let them do it. And you let them do it and understand, the significance about it. So this is all things that you can do, that you can have your family doing during the Passover week. You ain't doing everything on that night, but you have 7 days that you're commemorating, and you're making a memorial where you're having the children and the family understand. And then from this, you can teach them the importance of serving each other, being there for each other, because one of the most humble things that you can do in Israel was wash another brother's feet when they came into your house, because it was a sandy place, dusty place, and having a bowl. Usually the servants will wash master's feet, but Yahusha was showing them that the servant shall, the greatest among you shall serve. So this is why. This is always opportunities during this week where you can teach your children how to serve each other, how to work better as a family unit. Even the assemblies that you go into, having the men wash the other men's feet and the women washing the other women's feet, and you doing it as a family. Now, I wouldn't get into letting the men wash the women's feet and the women wash the men's feet, especially if everybody ain't married. How's the tongue he can get all in that. But what I'm saying is, let the men wash the men's feet, and the women wash the women's feet, so we can serve each other, as leads of the assemblies or things of that nature. So there's all these things that we're trying to give you extra things that you can do as a memorial to commemorate what the Most High did during our ancestors' time, and also the time that Mashiach had. I hope this made sense. Okay. Trying to get through. I hope I'm helping y'all. I hope I'm helping you. All right. Now, if I'm helping y'all, let me know. If there's good stuff that you can implement and start it, let me know. Somebody got a question about with some Hebrew men, they have more than one wife. For each wife, do they go through the same process? I don't know, because I don't really deal with multiple wives at all. So I don't really know how they would do with that. I don't know. They just got to float that boat, however they going to do. That has multiple wives. But I don't, we don't deal that way. So, we ain't got that kind of, issue with to do that. But as the men should wash the family feet overall and teach the family about serving each other. All right, let's keep going. All right, so now this is hey y'all, let's stay focused. Let's stay focused. Let's not go into how many wives that you should have and all that type of stuff. All I know is just for us with Rebirth of a Nation, our ministry, we about one man and one woman being together. All right, that's case closed. Let's focus on the lesson now. All right. Now, this is another part that I want y'all to pay attention to. This is another part I want y'all to pay attention to. This is the promise of the Father. I'm giving you all things that you can do throughout this time period, throughout this season, right? It's called the promise of the Father. Let's read it. Luke 24:49. And ye are the witness of these things. And behold, I am sending you the promise of my Father upon you. Acts 1:4. And while they were gathered together, he commanded them, do not leave Jerusalem, but wait till the gift the Father promised, which ye have heard me discuss to you. All right, so now this is a gift of the promise of the Father. And the counting of the Omer is the waiting of the promise of the Father. So let's see what this is. Let's see what the counting of the Omer is so we can understand this. All right, Leviticus 23. Leviticus 23 and verse 15. And this is how we get Pentecost. All right, so Leviticus 23. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye bring forth the sheaf offering. 7 Sabbaths shall ye complete, even until tomorrow. And after the 7th Sabbath shall ye number the 50th days, and ye shall offer a new meat offering unto the Lord, so unto the Most High. So what is that showing you? All right. So after during the feast of unleavened bread, and you get to the after first fruits, then you count 7 Sabbaths all the way up, and that'll be 7 weeks, and then it'll be 49 days in all. Excuse me. You count 7 Sabbaths, and on your 7th Sabbath, that next day would be your 50th day, and that'll be Pentecost. But the count after first fruit, after the Sabbath of first fruit, that you count is called counting the Omer. Counting the Omer all the way up to the 7th Sabbath, which is your 49th day, which is day 50. That would be Pentecost. This is the time we get together. And this is why Mashiach told them to go up to Jerusalem and wait to what? The gift of the promise of the Father. And we all know that that gift of the promise of the Father was what? The Ruach HaKodesh. Now, this is what me and my family do. This is me and my family. Don't give me no emails. This is me and my family does. During this time, I allow my children, me being the father, and I allow them to have an opportunity to ask for a gift, right? Whatever gift that they desire to have. It has to be something meaningful, but whatever gift that they desire to have, I seal it and I say, okay, this is the promise of the Father that you're going to get this, all right? And what do after that? They get excited, but they begin to count the Omer. Every week they count. Every Sabbath they counting all the way to day 49, and then they say 50 is Pentecost. Father, you Dad, you supposed to release the promise of the Father then, all right? And then on day 50, I release and I give them what they desire, the promise of the Father, right? What is that going to do? Indirectly, that is showing them the process of what's already in the scripture, and also getting them excited about it and understand on day 50, that's when the gift came, which is the Ruach HaKodesh. Now, as they practice this, then they'll begin to get even greater revelation of what this is and what this means through a tradition that we pass down as my family, called what? The promise of the father, or if they don't have a father in their life, the promise of the parent, of the guardian. So you can still practice these things where they can understand the importance of it and get excited about it, right? Not stripping it from its significance, but this is how you get the revelation of it. Ain't this way better than Halloween? Ain't got no spiritual significance. Thanksgiving ain't got no spiritual significance. Christmas ain't got no spiritual significance. Easter ain't got no spiritual significance. All these type of things ain't got no spiritual significance that would get them closer to the Most High at all, that get them a revelation of the scripture. But we got it within our culture that can get them excited about things that would give them a spiritual revelation, things being revealed to them later, that they can embrace the feast days to a greater level. Because saying this is what my father did, so this is what we're passing down. Because this is going to be forever in what my genealogy, my generation, what the promise of the Father, so we can keep in our spirit how to count the Omer and what it means from Passover to unleavened bread to first fruits to the 7 Sabbaths to Pentecost, when first the Torah was given to us as a gift, and then the Ruach HaKodesh was given to us as a gift. That it'll be what written on their heart. All right, but listen, again, that's me and my family. That's one of our traditions that we do. You ain't got to do that. Y'all asked me to give y'all wisdom on how to celebrate the day. All right? So I'm just giving y'all information, giving you wisdom. Then at the end, I'm going to show you how to start a Passover ceremony from the top to the bottom. All right? I hope I'm helping you. But you have to go back over there and look at this. All right, now make sure that you go and research this stuff on your own, really understand the feast. Again, this is just a video on how to celebrate, things that you can do, things that you can get your children excited about. That will, I'm telling y'all, listen, the stuff that we do, it wasn't hard at all to break my children away from these other holidays. I start implementing these things and I start letting my study. Well, I always grew up, my parents, by the time I came as a child, they was always following, they ain't celebrating no holidays. They was doing clean eating. They was always under the Sabbath and all those type of things. So I grew up like that. But as far as my children, now they got such a conviction against those other holidays because they know the spiritual significance of these feast days. They really go to these, the school they go to, man, they be shaking up the party, especially my son, but he be tearing them up. He tell them up by it. When they was trying to tell him, this is the new year, what's your new year resolution? He was telling them, this ain't no new year. The new year start during the month of Obed, during the springtime. That's when stuff is new. I mean, he was getting on. The teachers don't know what to do with him. All they can do is go and research what he says. But this have your children embrace something that's part of their culture and have them excited about what the Most High, he said, what he would say, make this a memorial. I want you to get involved in this. I want you to get them excited about this. I want this on their mind. I want them looking forward to this, to be able to commemorate what I did. All right? All right, so let's keep going because the little girl going to wake up in a minute. All right, so for those that don't know, the 14th of the month evening is the Passover. The next day is the Feast of Unleavened Bread. You celebrate unleavened bread for 7 days. That's the cleansing of sins out of your life, according to Exodus 12:7, 13:7, and getting the leaven out of your house. This is where the spring cleaning before Passover and all that came from. The 18th of that, the day 18 is the honoring of the first fruits. This is something that you can really look into when Yahushua, when he arose, be able to study that part. And then you count 50 days to Pentecost, which is Leviticus 23:15-17. Deuteronomy 16:16 says 3 times a year shall all men come before the Most High. This Passover, the Shabbat, and the Feast of Tabernacles. All right, so let's keep moving, y'all, because we got to go. I got to go. Oh, I'm almost at the end. Oh, praise Yah. Ceremony of Passover that night. Now, this is for, those that can't come to Passover. If it's ever a year that you won't be able to make it, right? Something that you can implement and just do. Anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. So I'm going to show you now how to start. Like, just say if you got everybody coming to your house, right? Or if you're at the house with your family and it's Passover and you don't know what to do. You don't know how to start. I'm going to show you how you start from the beginning to the end. Now, this is just a guideline. It's no official way to do this. Now, I know the Jewish people got their way to do it, but I'm careful about doing things the way they do it. Right? But it's always an opportunity. Always an opportunity for you to allow the Mo Ruach to use you. So we're going to go from top to bottom. All right, let's go. And I got to get off, y'all. All right, opening night. You got everybody that came over. And they coming over. So the first thing you open with is you can go around the room, or you as the presenter or the person that's hosting it, and you can begin speaking on the importance of feast days and the importance of Passover season to our culture, to you and your family. So this is something that you begin to talk to your family with, the people that's over there, and the importance of this season, why we need to keep the feast days, what's the importance of Passover, the importance of unleavened bread, why it's important to our culture. You teach this to your children. You can kind of open up like that. All right. Then the next thing you can do is go to the scriptures. You go to Exodus chapter 6. I think that's starting at verse 6. And with this, Exodus 6 and 6, this give you an opportunity to break down what the Most High did for us, right? He got the whole thing of what he did in the beginning, also what he going to do in the second Exodus, right? So you bring these scriptures out, Exodus 6 and 6, and this show you what the Most High original purpose for delivering our ancestors. Wherefore say unto you the children of Israel, I am Yahuwah, and I will bring you out from the burdens of Mizraim. All right, so that's number one. He wanted to bring us out from burdens. He said, I want to rid you out of your bondage. He want to bring us from burdens. He wants to rid us out of bondage. So you can talk about that and have discussions about that. And he said, then I want to redeem you with a stretched out arm and with great judgments. I want to redeem my people. I want to buy my people back out of their bondage. Verse 7, and I will take to me for a people, and I will be your Elohim, and you shall know that I am Yahuwah your Elohim, which bringeth you out of the burdens of the Egyptians. In verse 8, and the last thing he want to do with us is bring us back into our land. So this is another point of discussion when it sees that it lays out point by point what the Most High was trying to do, which is bring us out from the burdens of the Egyptians, which would be bringing us out of the burdens of the Americans now, or wherever we were scattered, bring us out of that bondage with a stretched out arm, with great judgment poured out. We can go over those scriptures and show that, right? All right, and then after that, this is a time of celebration. So when you look at what he did and what he was doing, what he was taking us out of the burdens of the Egyptians, taking us out of bondage, he began to deliver us with a stretched out hand and a strong arm, that he wanted to be our God, our Elohim, and bring us back to his land. Once we understand that, then it's a time of celebrating, a time of where you sing songs, dances, if you have music there. You can do the rebirth slide, different things like that, getting the family together. Y'all sing songs, sing worship songs to the Most High, sing worship songs, adoration songs about what the Messiah did for us. This is time to celebrate, where you can do a little praise and worship, different things of that nature, however you want to do it. Sing a song or two, play something. If you don't sing, if don't nobody in your family sing, y'all can make a joyful noise. If y'all can put on a song or something like that, this is a time where you can celebrate and have a good time, right? All right, so let's see. Now, if you by yourself, all right, if you by yourself, you do the same thing. If nobody else want to commemorate it with you, you do it yourself. You start off just like I just gave you. You begin to meditate on the purpose of this season. It might be good to get you a journal and begin to write it down, how important this is and how important it is to your culture. You begin to meditate on Exodus 6 through 8. What does that mean? The understanding of that, meditate on that. And then, if you by yourself, you sing songs to the Most High. You begin to celebrate it. You worship him, you praise him, for his deliverance, for the things that he have done. And now you got to the portion where you actually go over the story with the family. Have a discussion of the story with the family. Just sit down, just talk about it. Or even if you want to, I know sometimes even if you want to watch it, if you get the kids involved and watch a movie of the story or something like that, and then begin to talk about it. With that, go through the whole story, what that means, things of that nature, with the family, or if you by yourself, you go over the story with yourself, you might see something that you didn't see before. Now, this is something that we do. Now, I know you heard of the cedar plate, right? I know some of us have heard of that, and we can't find the cedar plate in the scriptures, That's something that might have been traditionally done. But this is what you can find in the scriptures. You can find, let me show you. You can find a bit of herbs. You can find unleavened bread. And you can find the wine. And all these are symbolic. And let me show you what we do with this. After we done went over the story, then we go into the symbolic meaning of this. So what I do, I go get some parsley, and I wish I had the video. I might upload a video with me doing it with my nieces and nephews. But I go get the parsley. I go buy some parsley. You buy some horseradish, buy some carrots. Make sure you have some salt water. Make sure you have, let me bring that down, see what it is. Make sure you have, Lord, oh, good girl, I need my wife here because I can't remember the name. It's charret or charato or something like that. Here, and once you look it up, you'll find it. And wine. Now, all of this is in, let me show you where it's at. All this is in Exodus 12, where you have your bitter herbs in Exodus 12. You have your unleavened bread in Exodus 12, and you have your wine. So we can see, or your grapefruit juice, so we can see the elements here. So this is what we do, right? We go back to Exodus 6, right? And it says, wherefore say unto the children of Israel, I am Yahuwah. I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. So what I do with the kids, I have all them take symbolically. I said, we're going to experience symbolically and salute symbolically what our ancestors been through. So I tell them to take the parsley and dip it in the salt water. Because the salt water, and I tell them to then take a bite of it. And what is this going to do? It's going to represent the tears that our ancestors shared when they was under the burdens of the Egyptians. So it's a way to symbolically connect the children. Symbolically, oh Lord, my phone is dying. Symbolically connect the children, to our ancestors. Symbolically connect the children to our ancestors overall. So that's why that is important with that, right? So now we're going back. Then it says, then I will rid you out of your bondage. So I let them see how bitter the bondage was. I take a carrot and tell them to dip in the horseradish. Now, listen. If you're going to do this, you got to tell them children and the grown folks, and y'all do it too. If you're going to do that, take a little bit of that horseradish. Because my son took that carrot and dipped it all the way and ate that thing, and it opened him up. He was looking crazy. But it's supposed to taste bitter, and it symbolically addresses how bitter the slavery was at that time, right? So it's symbolically connecting them to their ancestors, what they've been through, right? All dealing with scripture still, right? And then the next thing we do is the next verse, verse 7. It says, I will redeem you with a stretched out arm and with great judgment. So who is our Redeemer? Mashiach, and he's represented through what? The bread, which is his body. And notice that the unleavened bread is already pierced, letting you see that our Mashiach was pierced. And he's going to be the one that is sent to do what? Redeem us. And this is why you have the charoset, I think it's charoset, that you put in is basically like some, well, my wife, I know my wife on her line, she'll tell y'all what it is because she make it. I can't remember exactly what all the ingredients is because I don't really cook like that. But anyway, it's sweet tasting. So our redemption through the Messiah that's going to come with being with stretched out arm, it's going to be so sweet from that bitterness that we had just been through, right? So I let all the children symbolically eat that, taste that and symbolically connect them with the ancestors that way. You can still do the same thing with Mashiach, and the same thing doing this remembrance of him, of the tears that he shed in Gethsemane with the parsley, all right? And you go into the bitterness of what he dealt with, getting beaten, getting whooped for us, and then the redemption that he had given us, when he rose for the dead and ascended up. All right, in the last cup, according to verse 7 and 8, Exodus 7 and 8 is that we'll drink the cup of promise, which says that I would take, verse 7, I would take you to me for a people, and I will be to you a Elohim. And I will bring you in the land concerning which I swore to give to Abraham and to Isaac and to Jacob, and I will give it to you for a heritage, for I am Yahuwah. So that's the last cup that we drink together, which would be the cup of promise that he has spoken, that he would deliver us and be an Elohim to us and bring us back to our land. I hope that makes sense. That is something that you can go get symbolically. It's not really the cedar plate. It's based off Exodus 6:6-7 that we can use with that. All right. I guess it is a form of it, but hey. All right. So we got that. We got the symbolic thing done, right? So then after that, you go ahead and eat the Passover meal. Go ahead and have a good time with that. And notice it was after they ate the meal that then they memorialized. So they took the body and the blood. So this is after you eat the meal. This is when you do the memorial to Yahusha and to his sacrifice for us. When he said, this is my body. And he gave it to them. And then this is the wine or the grapefruit juice for your children overall. As we doing this as a memorial and commemorating what he has done for us in the Passover, renewing us back to our covenant with the Most High. Then after you do the bread and the wine, memorial to Mashiach, then we can do the wash each other's feet. The Father doing that on that same night. And this is the time, after all that, that we make sure that everything has been restored, no conflict among us and the family throughout this week. And then, we end that night with rejoicing, with songs and celebration, with dances, get some music out, have some fun, and celebrate what Mashiach done for us and how we're going back to the land and celebrate, the deliverance of our people. Looking forward to the second Exodus. So, last slide. Now, if you miss Passover time for some reason, hold on, y'all. Give me 30 seconds. I gotta go get some. Hold on 1 second. All right. I'm back. My phone hadn't died, y'all. So I want to make sure I can get to y'all questions when you get to answering. All right, gotta make sure that charge back up. So here it says, now if you miss Passover time, Numbers 9:10-13, this lets you know it's not necessarily got to have the date 100% right. Because we're seeing here, if you miss it, you can celebrate it the next month. No, Numbers 9:10-13. But there was a certain people who had become unclean because of someone's corpse, so that they could not observe Pesach on that day. So they came before Moshe and Aaron that day and said to him, we are unclean because of some corpse. But why must we be kept from bringing the offering before Adonai at the time designated for the people of Israel? Moshe answered them and said, wait so that I can hear what Adonai will order concerning you. Not Adonai. Yahuwah said to Moshe, tell the people of Israel, if any of you now or in the future generation is unclean because of a corpse, or if you're on a trip abroad, nevertheless he can observe Pesach, but he will observe it the second month, the 14th day at dusk, and they are to eat it with matzah, and they are to leave none until the morning, and they are not to break any of his bones. They are to observe it according to the regulations of Passover. So this is letting you see that even if you miss it, this is why we shouldn't really be arguing so much on dates and things of that nature, because most I said showed down, hey, if you on a trip or abroad, if you miss it or something like that, hey, you can still celebrate it. So I hope this was good enough to give you some examples, things that you can do, how you can commemorate it, how you can make it a part of what you and your family doing, what your children doing. I hope this gave you guys enough to be able to know what to do, even if you're by yourself, or what to do if you're not able to make it to Passover or things of that nature. You still know how to handle yourself or how to conduct it, and gave you some little tidbits and different things of that nature to help you get that done. Now, my phone is still trying to charge up, so I'm trying to see if I can go and answer any questions that y'all have. Any questions that y'all have. Let me see something, because I'm gonna have to get off here in a minute, y'all. So let's see if I can at least get 2 or 3 questions answered before I get off here. So I'm trying to look at y'all on let's see here. My channel. Let's see, it says that I'm live. I'm gonna try to see if I can see any of y'all questions while I'm here. My phone just happened to die. I apologize about that. It just loaded, my computer loading slow now. But again, I hope this is give you, somewhat of guidelines on how you can, celebrate it and understand it, things of that nature. So just give me about a few more minutes, and then we're going to see if I can pull y'all up and get some questions answered. Let's see what we got here. All right, 525. Let me do this. All right. I don't know if it's gonna let me do it. Might not. Anyway, I tell you what we probably have to do, because I can't see y'all questions. Phone ain't acting right. Ain't acting like it want to charge. And I know it's finna die in just like a little bit, because I just got it back up. So let me see one more time. My phone doing something real crazy now. All right, I tell you what. I'm just gonna say shalom. If I can answer any of your questions, just leave them on the actual video, and I'll find it, and I try to answer it then. For some reason, it ain't letting me get to it. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, I tell y'all what. Yeah, we just gonna do that because my phone doing something crazy. So anyway, love y'all. Hope this helped y'all. Again, just leave your questions or whatever you have on here, and I get to it later. Tomorrow, I'm gonna be traveling down to be with Josh in his Shabbat. So Augusta won't have Shabbat tomorrow. I usually come on at 3. After Josh, we won't have Shabbat tomorrow. Me and Josh gonna do Shabbat together. So if you want to come see us in South Carolina, come on out. Me and him gonna be teaching together. Not gonna do nothing real heavy. We're just gonna do a teaching on a important subject on what is a vision and how to get towards a vision. And we're gonna hit some current events and different things of that nature. Current events. So we're just gonna be speaking on current events and just it'll probably be not real deep, but we'll both be there. Have a good time down there in Anderson, South Carolina. This will be my first time being at one of his Shabbats. He came up to me plenty of times, so we'll be going down there to be amongst them. So we love y'all. Got to get ready for Passover, so we're gonna be wide open. Y'all be praying for us. We see you soon, and shalom.